Hi guys, and welcome back again. Today I want to talk to you about batteries. Now if you're a hunter like I am and you hunt for long hours at night, batteries can be a bane. They really can. So I'm going to show you what I did to help me last, or to hunt longer at night. Now, a lot of devices have the small CR123 batteries, and these are non-rechargeables. They tend to get expensive, don't tend to last that long. And then I went the rechargeable way, and they're a bit short, of course, because they're rechargeable. So again, not a long-term solution. So what I did is I thought, well, I'm going to look at external batteries and voltages and so forth. So you're probably familiar with this particular scope. This is a night sight scope, and this is the Wolf brand, a Wolf model. Now you've got these small batteries which are 1.5 amp hour, I think it is, and they fasten on like that onto the back of the scope. So they're good setup for this sort of thing. So what I've done, I like the size of these, and I thought, the jack, it's a common jack, so it fits a lot of night vision devices that you can use. So I thought, I can change this. So what I did, I got hold of the battery. So this is the battery. And then I got hold of a little mount. This is a quick release mount from eBay. And then I married them together. So I'm going to show you how I did it, and then you can do the same. It's not that hard, and it makes my devices last absolutely ages. To give you an idea, I hooked this onto a Pulsar thermal, and then this one, it can last 11 hours. Now this type of thermal doesn't have a display off, a standby switch, so it's on all the time. Either it's on all the time or off. And for me, I keep it on. The battery lead, the tail I'll call it, comes out the bottom of one side. Now think about before you mount it, because I've mounted it here, and you want to measure it so the lever, the release lever, the button is up here, hooks on there. Now I've got it at the top on this Pulsar thermal because it just fits when everything's connected nicely in here, nice and snug, without stretching the cable but without getting caught on anything. But if you want, you can reverse this quick release mount and put it on the other side so the tail is on the bottom and the lead comes down. So it all depends on how you want to mount it to your device. But I thought I'd show you that one on the thermal. And now on the rifle sight, on this Pulsar, the cable comes down from below, and I use a rangefinder on the top here. So I actually clip it to there, and then I come out from the top. It doesn't really matter, it just sits there nicely without dangling too far down. So there you go. I just want to show you how it fits on, and you make the decision whether you want the cable to come from the top or the bottom as you mount it. But you also, just talking about the mount for a minute, it is adjustable here. So you push this pin in here, and you can actually rotate that with a little screwdriver, so you can put tension on. Now before I showed you, I think you can do it both ways, and I found it best to have the button upwards so it's easy for you to push and release rather than tucking it underneath like that. But it doesn't really matter, so you can tension this for your needs. Right, let's get started. So the tools you're going to need are a Phillips screwdriver, and this is a jeweler's one that removes these screws in here, and make sure you get a nice snug fit one. You need a Phillips screwdriver to remove these 2 screws, and you need a sort of flat blade screwdriver to prise it open. I'll show you why in a minute. You need a Dremel. Now this Dremel is a really good device. It's a little grinding wheel with a metal cutting blade on it, and you can really slow the speed down. Now this is important to try and use one of these tools rather than anything else, because it's got the right speed, nice and handy to get in there, and I'll demonstrate that later. So, and of course the epoxy glue, which I've got to get. I use Araldite, so it's a 2-part epoxy, so it's quite strong. So I have full confidence that that's going to stay on there. So now the battery is held together by some double-sided tape. Now what you want to do is you slowly use a flat blade screwdriver, and you slowly, with your hands, you pull it apart a little bit. And see that? It's almost starting to prise apart already. Look at the gap here. Now it's quite strong. Even though I've done that, it's very, very strong. Okay, so this is the side I want to work with. So you've got to peel it off, but very, very gently, very carefully. And I'm peeling the tape off this side. I'm leaving it here on this one. So I'm getting underneath and using the battery just slowly right around. It's extremely, extremely tight. So I'm actually using the screwdriver to go in and just touch the back of the battery. Try and work just one side. Right, I think I've just done it. And just slowly prise it off. It's a bit scary, but you get there in the end. It's really tough. There we go. There we go. And that's the double-sided tape. Extremely strong. And when you put it together, of course, make sure everything goes back in nicely. All right. And of course, you know it's the correct side when you put it together because you've got the little Y outlet here. Now, this is the part you're going to work on. So we can put that one aside. Right, what you want to do first is place the mount over in position where you want it. Drill a couple of small holes. Keep in mind that the diameter of the drill bit has got to be smaller than the intended screws that I'm going to use, the countersink screws. So you just drill the hole and then put the screws in and screw them in, of course, with the Phillips. And just lightly do it for the time being. You're drilling like that. Now be careful you don't tighten them up too much, because you'll cut the plastic and it won't tighten up anymore. So then you've got a protrusion of the screws. So they have to be ground off. So the best idea is to grab a marker and mark these. So for cutting. Now I'm going to actually grind them off and then leave them proud a little bit so you can use the Dremel to grind them down flat. Now before you do that, it might be an idea to mark while you got it screwed on, and that's to just etch around so you know where the glue is going to go, and a bit around here and around here. So you've got an etch line there now. So what you can do now is take the screws off, grind them down or cut them down just slightly proud, and then also take off the bottom because you've got a sticker there. So you want to remove the screws. And I'll be taking that sticker off, but I'll cut through a little bit more to make sure it etches onto the plastic, and then I'll take the sticker off so the glue can bond onto this and onto the back of the mount itself. Also at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Dremel tool to cut some grooves across here so it's got a surface to bond against. So we'll come back to that one. Now before you cut any metal of any description, please wear glasses. Very important, you need your eyes. Okay, I've cut mine down to a small size and put them aside, and now I'm just going to cut some grooves in here and here so the glue has got something to bond to. Now, a word of warning: take off, before you glue the mount to the box itself, take the little parts off carefully, and you should get, there's one with a bit of springs, 2 springs in it, a little nut, and the lever itself. So when you put the glue, make sure the glue is not around this area here, otherwise this pin, which has to go in and out, will get glued up and you won't be able to adjust it. And also here in these little holes, make sure you don't have any glue in those holes, because that's where the springs go in. So perhaps take them out before you glue everything in. Mixed my glue up, and now I'm just going to apply it to the base. Now the next stage is to use a Dremel and grind these down carefully without overheating it so it's level with this plastic here. And I just dip a bit of water on it as I grind it so you don't create a lot of heat. So that's what I'm going to do now. So this is the end result. I've ground them down, and what I'm going to do now is to put a bit of two-part epoxy over these metal bits so there's no metal contacting the battery at all. Make it safe. Now it's just a simple case of reassembling it together. Take note that you seat this wire in the correct place here and you don't crimp the wires. So put it over like that and put the screws in, and then you're done. And notice that I'm going to leave the remaining parts off until the glue is well and truly dried, and then I'll come and put it on. That's it.